The NRG podcast showcases industry leaders who share universal truths and lessons learned for those looking to gain inspiration, motivation, and game-changing information. Now, here's your host, Nick Roshdi.
Hello and welcome to the NRG podcast. I am your host, Nick Roshdi, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Shout out to Paul, our studio mastermind.
Studio mastermind. Wow, I got elevated here. I feel like I'm in a master class when I listen to you guys talk about motivation and sweat and perspiration and dedication. I'm at the feet of masters here.
Amen. Today I have a very special guest. He's a dear friend of mine, and just an unbelievable human being, Derek Graham, who is an amazing husband, father, businessman, a God's man, and a NPC men's physique winner. Welcome, Derek.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You got to define what NPC is. I don't know what NPC is.
National Physique Committee.
Wow, okay.
Welcome, Derek. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, Derek, obviously you're an outstanding person in our community. A lot of people know you, and I'm honored to have you here. And I wanted to just bring you here for you to share, with our audience about, what it takes to lead by example and succeed in life. So, that being said, please tell us a little bit about who you are and what a normal workday looks like for you.
Oh, boy. Well, I've been in the title insurance business for 27 years, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth on the business world, and been very successful at it. I love it. I mean, it's been really all I've ever done up until about 6 years ago when my business partner and I, Josh Boyd, decided to start a nutritional coaching business called the 12-Week Fitness Challenge. And ultimately, that led us to another business we started called the 12, which is a group training facility, a group of group training facilities that we have here in Orange County. And having two careers for the last 6-7 years has been challenging, but I like it. There's something about that that work ethic, the ability to multitask, the ability to dream and follow your passions. It's pretty exciting to wake up every day and have something that I know I'm having a great effect on people in several different arenas. Real estate is great. Love it. Will always love it. But to be able to touch people physically with their bodies and minds and help them to get to maybe some physical goals and mental goals that they just never thought that they could achieve, it's very rewarding.
And Derek, I remember I came to your gym, a few years back. I come there on and off. If it wasn't for the drive, I'll be there all the time. Mm-hmm. Tell me why the 12 and what your plans are for the future for the 12.
Well, the 12 actually was born out of need. Earlier in my life, I went through some very traumatic experiences, and those experiences, unfortunately, I had a very successful title insurance career. Went through a very traumatic experience that's somewhat personal, but it basically set me into a spiral, and I got very involved in drugs and alcohol for many years, or 3 or 4 years, and it basically almost killed me. And so when I was looking to get myself back on track and into what I knew I was capable of, because prior to that I was very successful, I knew I had it in me to recuperate from that, but I needed to set some goals. And so I came up with this idea of doing what we called a 12-week fitness challenge. And the 12-week fitness challenge was between me and a couple other guys, but we decided to make it very official. So we went to a hydrostatic dunk tank and did body fat testing. And the mission of this challenge was to know what our body fat was at the beginning of the challenge, help each other set realistic but very, very, very challenging 12-week body fat goals, and then accomplish those goals. And this was not a competition between people. This wasn't me against my friends. This was, hey, Derek, here's where your current body fat is. Here's what a realistic but challenging body fat goal is. Hit that goal and you succeed. If all of us hit our goals, we'd go on a trip somewhere. But if one of us did not hit our goal, we would have to donate $2,000 to the other folks so that they could go on the trip without you. And there was something extremely motivating about that. And that overall concept and premise led to 9 years of friends helping friends. We had over 968 people. We had 968 people do the challenge in 9 years, and out of that, only 8 people that didn't hit their body fat goals. And the challenge wasn't created to take people's money. The challenge was created to help motivate people. And what we found is the fear of loss of money is a great motivator. But it wasn't a business yet. It was just friends helping friends. And from that, what ended up happening is my business partner now, Josh Boyd, got involved in one of those challenges and lost 40 pounds, went from I believe 28% body fat down to 3.2% body fat. And it changed his life. He was pre-diabetic at the time. He was dealing with a lot of physical issues and ailments, and it completely changed his life. And he approached me one day and said, "Man, Derek, this is amazing. It's changed my life. We need to turn this into a business. This is special. You know, what we're doing, what you've been doing over the last 9 years is incredible, but this needs to be a business." And at the time, I had just started a title insurance company with some partners, and I had a 6-month-old daughter, and I'm like, how the heck would I ever fit something else into my daily routine? I don't know. And Josh was just very direct. He's like, heck with it. Let's do it. Let's just start. Let's just go. Let's just do it. We need to touch some lives. Let's just do it. And so we did, and we started a company called the 12-Week Fitness Challenge. And in the course of those first 2 years, I think we had over 15,000 people do the challenge. And it was obvious that what we had was pretty special. And then we had a group of people that approached us and said, "Hey, you know, why are you guys sending us to Equinox? Why are you sending us to 24 Hour Fitness? Why are you sending us to all these other locations? Why don't you guys start your own gym?" And so we did. We started a gym in Irvine, and in the first 10 months, we had 1,600 members. Completely booked all the classes out. People were actually getting upset they couldn't get into class. So we opened up our second location. Within a year of that being open, I think we were up to 10,000 members between those two locations. And then we opened up our third location last year. We're closer to 18,000 members now. And it's just been exponential growth. And it's exciting, but a lot of work, right?
Absolutely. And for all you listeners out there, Derek is one of those guys that no matter when you see him, he always has a smile on his face. He's just a radiant guy, and really just a pleasure to be around, and and just be in his circle. So, that being said, Derek, what is, share with our audience, what is your why? What keeps you motivated day in and day out, running two businesses and always operating from such a high level?
Gosh, man, I appreciate you bringing that up. It's so poignant that you even used that word "why." Our team, we have 40 plus employees at the gym business, and we've mandated that our team read a book called "Start with Why," and it's by Simon Sinek, and I highly recommend it. And so we're having our whole team is having to understand what their why is. And my personal why is my story of turmoil. Like when I almost died from drug and alcohol abuse, boy, that was very motivating. I never want to go back to that darkness. I never want to experience anything close to that ever again. And so initially it was about, getting as far away from that darkness as possible. What I've realized through this process is that although I thought I was very unique and I thought no one else on this planet has ever experienced the pain I felt, what I found is most people are broken. Most everybody I talk to has experienced some form or fashion of what I've been through, and it's something that they can all relate to. And so it's been powerful to be able to realize that what Josh and I have created is touching a lot of lives because they can relate to our why. They too want to be better people. They too realize that God gave us one vessel, one body to take care of. They don't want to, let life pass them by.
Absolutely. And now tell us a little bit about your how you keep a balanced life with regards to, family obviously being first, personal time, as well as work time, running two such big successful businesses.
I don't know how I do it sometimes. I don't. I mean, honestly, God my family, my body, those are the three most important things in my life. So I prioritize them accordingly. And, the reality is if I was forced to work out in the afternoons or evenings, I would never work out. And so what I've realized, I got to get up at 3:50 a.m. every morning so that I can have some Bible time, so that I can have some me time, which is me in the gym. And then I can get my day started. And that way it has little to no effect on my family life, right? Because Lord knows I wouldn't want to, my wife and daughter are sleeping at those times, so the effect is zero, right? And so it allows me to fit it in, and it's difficult because it, forces me to have to, get up early. But now, of course, after years of doing it, I love it. I appreciate getting up that early. I love it.
Absolutely. And you're one of the most humble, ego-free, just fun-loving guys I know, Derek. And share with our audience a little bit, how you're able to, stay that way and not let the, daily grind, get to you, and you're always operating from such a high level.
I think it stems back to the torrid past, right? I mean, I could be dead. Right? I get to wake up every day and do what the two things I love to do. I love fitness. I love touching people's lives. I love helping people. And I also love title insurance. I mean, what that career has done for me to afford me the beautiful things I have in life and my family and lifestyle and to be able to afford to start a business like we have. God's good. I mean, I don't see the negative there. Yeah, there's stresses that are involved in life, but the grass isn't always greener. It's not like, I could be digging ditches, right? I get to hustle and show people what work ethic can provide. I think in a way, I don't know if I do this, but my goal in a way is to inspire other people to see what's possible. I mean, a lot of people know that I almost died from drugs and alcohol. And I think they see me today and go, holy smokes, how did he do that? Like, how did he turn that around? Here's a guy that I thought was going the other way, and somehow he's using that as fuel to create this amazing life and career. And in a way, that's what kind of drives me.
Absolutely. And obviously, I know your family well, Derek, and share with our audience, about being a father to Chloe, because, I just know how much you love Chloe. Chloe and my daughter Anise they have the same birthdays, so they're good friends. They haven't seen each other for a while, so we gotta make that happen.
Yeah,
but yeah, so share with our audience what it takes to be a good father to Chloe.
Yeah, boy, it seems easy, but it's not, right? It's not easy to be a good father because it requires, really putting some forethought into how you're going to structure your day, your week, your month. She's everything to me. Many people don't know this, but I was adopted at birth, and met my biological family when I turned 21. But for many years, obviously in my younger years, I didn't know why I looked the way I do. I didn't know anything about my health. I didn't know anything about my family, my birth family. So I always thought I knew what love was, right? I had an idea. And of course, I love my wife. Amazing. I mean, she's amazing. But the day my daughter was born, and the first time I ever held her, that was the first time I think I ever truly felt that kind of love. And so, as you know, when you experience that kind of love, there's just a unbelievable, I can't even explain it. There's no words that can explain it properly, but it makes me want to be there for her and be a good prodigy and show her like what life could be like. One of my things my saying to her is, how you are in one thing is how you are in all things. So making your bed from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, it has a positive effect. So I just try to instill in her good positive work ethic. She sees me work hard. She appreciates what we have. She knows, man, Daddy's working his butt off for us, and I love that. I think it's just making a good impression.
Absolutely. And I certainly know how much you do love that little girl. So it's really beautiful to see and see, the young girl she's become. Who are the two people that have really kind of been the pillars in your life, that have driven you, that have been your mentors that you've looked up to in life?
I have to say, number one, my dad. My dad that adopted me, who I consider my dad, he's an amazing human being. He there was something, he was always really tough on me, but when I was looking to transfer to San Diego State, there was an amazing story where he told me, he's like, listen, because I told him, I go, hey, listen, to transfer from Orange Coast College to San Diego State, it's actually a 3.5-year program to transfer as a junior. And so he came back and he said, well, okay, well, I'm only paying for 2 years. So figure out how to get 3.5 years into 2. So I went back to my counselor, and the counselor said, well, no, the only way you could do that is if you went to every winter session and every summer school session and got dean's approval for 21 units or more per semester. That's the only way. So I went back and I told my dad, and he goes, well, figure it out. Do it. Because guess what? After 2 years, you're on your own. And I hated my dad for those 2 years because I ended up doing it. Got dean's approval, never took a winter session off, never took a summer school off. And during those 2 years, I kind of despised my dad for that. But I'll tell you, that was the best thing he could have ever done. It made me understand and appreciate what it took to truly thrive, not just survive. And, there was guys that transferred there as juniors at the same time I did that I knew, and they were there 4 years. I got out in 2 years and started my career with the most amazing work ethic. And so it wasn't until about 2 years ago that when my dad was in the hospital from a heart attack, I thought I was losing him, so I kind of shared with him how important that moment was, the fact that he was so stern and so hard on me. And that was really kind of an instrumental point in my life. I would say the second person is actually my business partner. It gets me emotional. Josh is one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. And, running a business the way we do, or the way we have, it wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have what we have if it wasn't for Josh's ability to, drive through the pain points and really be an incredible leader. He's an amazing guy, and he doesn't get enough credit.
Why, can you elaborate why? Why is he so special to you?
Being an entrepreneur is tough. I'm the visionary somewhat. He's a visionary too, but I'm kind of the guy in the clouds, right, dreaming up stuff. And then I bring those ideas down to earth, and I share them with him, and he'll literally go through a list of 10 things and go, that's terrible, that's terrible, that's terrible. Oh, I like that one. That one's good. Oh, that's terrible, that's terrible. And just kind of go down. And he helps. Like, ideas without execution are just dreams, right? So he's taken a lot of the dreams that I have in my life, and he's helped us to execute on them. And without that, we would have nothing. And so, but being in that leadership role and being that type of driver can get a negative connotation at times. And I hate that because, he does take some flack from people over the years for being so strong and being so focused, and I think that's misunderstood. I mean, it's just really, that's what it takes to run a business successfully, and I just wouldn't be where I am in many ways if it wasn't for him.
Absolutely. Obviously, I know you and Josh well, and I can contest to that. It's funny because I've noticed there's a lot of people like yourself that have really good balance with family, with personal time, with work. Seems like a lot of men and women like you are the ones that really try to help others. They're not making life about themselves. They're making it about others and how can they, provide to others, help others, bring advice to others, change other people's lives any way they can. And I've noticed that pattern in a lot of people who have true happiness within themselves. I mean, I know sometimes, I text you and have you meet, we meet each other at the gym at, before 5 in the morning, and I see you come up the stairs, and when I look at you, I see that big smile, before the clock turns 5. It's just really such a wonderful thing to see. Can you share, how that feels to be so giving to so many people, but yet you don't feel empty for yourself inside?
Yeah, good question. What I've learned over the years is that my MO, the way I am as a human being, what's so natural to me, like to give, is not normal for a lot of people, I guess. I mean, for me, like my pleasure comes from putting people together, creating scenarios and connecting people that make a difference. And I have a situation that took place today that was just absolutely amazing. Honest to God, like it's amazing how putting people together, you never know what it's going to create, because a lot of times nothing comes of it. And I can't talk about the situation today, but the situation I put together today is so big and so instrumental. It could really change some lives. I get so much pleasure out of that. And so, for me, it feels good to do that. And if I only got 10% reciprocation in my life, I'll tell you that 10% has overpaid me over the years. Like 10% reciprocation back from people I've helped has overpaid me. So I'm all good.
Amen. And that's so true, because, we're all connected, right? So when we help others, it comes back tenfold, like you just mentioned. So the more we help others, the more our vibrational energy expands and the more good things come in. So
Amen.
Absolutely. I've seen it, especially with you, over and over again. Derek, thank you so much for being with us in studio today. Any final thoughts you have for our audience?
I think going back to giving, there's an amazing book, and I can't remember the author, but it's called The Go-Giver. And I highly recommend that, because that book was it was something I was already doing, but it kind of helped to confirm that I thought I had invented this idea of giving, and it's not, obviously. But that book really helped to confirm how powerful that can be if you implement it.
Absolutely. You know what, Derek? It's just a blessing to be your friend, to work colleague, to come to your gym. That is a wrap for this episode of the Energy Podcast. We appreciate you being here. I'm going to turn it over to Paul here.
I just have to say one gratitude, one thank you. So many guys come in. You guys are a big, tough, successful guys. To be able to be vulnerable and open about that, I've never heard anybody be touched or choke up talking about their partner before. Usually their partner is like, "Oh, that rat who's stealing from me," So I'm very. I think that really touched everybody. It was like the whole room just froze for a moment here, and that's great. So I appreciate that you're willing to share that. Because too many times everybody comes on these shows and everything's happy, everything's wonderful. Yeah. It's when they get real that we really get interested.
Yeah. Well, being tough is really being vulnerable, right? To be able to share your feelings. That's what a real person is like. So before we go, Derek, please tell us how can people reach you and get in touch with you via your number, website, or social media.
Well, I'd love for people to check out the gym, the 12. If you went to www.the12.com. www.the12.com, or you can email me at derek@the12.com.
Perfect. All right, that's a wrap for this episode of the NRG Podcast. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for our next episode featuring another dynamic guest who will share inspiration, motivation, and game-changing information for all of our good listeners.
Stay tuned for the next NRG episode, live every Thursday at 2 p.m. on OC Talk Radio. Follow host Nick Roshdi on Instagram and visit nickroshdigroup.com to explore his real estate endeavors. Interested in being a guest on the show? Message Nick on Facebook.